Hello and welcome everyone to episode 6 of the Practical Show. This is the show where we discuss AI tools, sales funnels, accountability, decision making, and much more in order to help you grow your business. So we have loads of different tips every week. We have VIP guests and we have guests that we invite you, the people that are listening to us, to come onto the show. So if you're interested in coming on and engaging with our VIP guest, which we'll introduce later on in about 10 minutes time, you're more than welcome. Just put it into the chat, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, put it in the comments. The same with YouTube. We're here, we're monitoring it, and hopefully we'll get you a link out there where you'll be able to join us live on the show. And if not, you can just ask your questions in the comment area of YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn today. So as always, my co-host is Anna, and Anna today wanted a bit of fun. She wanted us all dressed up and have us in red, right? So, yeah, and I don't know what she's got up her sleeve, but she's looking for a bit of fun today. So, Anna, as I always ask...
I got all the instructions, Thomas, so yes, it is a fun show now.
All right. And, what have we got lined up for today? What's on the cards?
Well, our VIP guest first, so it will be very interesting to hear from Peter more about leadership and how important that is, and about his LOS system. And on the other hand, we're going to start with something fun. So I've been doing a bit of research, and as our listeners know, and some of our followers on LinkedIn, I know that we put a poll out the other day, and some of the results were very surprising to us. But yeah, we're going to start, we have another week to go with our poll, but we're going to start with some of the trends and news in AI space. But before I go into that part, what I come across recently on Amazon Prime is this documentary, which was actually launched in 2019. And I'm going to share one little, just a screen, I guess, to show what it is, right? It's a data land, they're called Data Land. I don't know why I can't share a screen for some reason. Technology for you, Thomas.
Go.
But yeah,
you did it a couple of minutes ago.
It didn't work for me there now. But the documentary called Data Land. What was interesting about it? I don't know. Maybe I could share the video just to show 1 or 2 seconds of this. Can I do that?
Try quickly? That. Try it. Yeah. It should.
Okay. I think I'm on right now. Am I?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hear this first and see what you think.
It's not playing, Anna.
It is not playing?
You're not.
And emotions.
There we go. Yes.
It analyzes our cells to decode our genetic material. No task is beyond its capabilities. AI is even learning to draw.
I'm just going to go back to here.
Right now, at this very moment, artificial intelligence is trying to figure out exactly who you are. AI mimics our thoughts and emotions. It analyzes.
I'm going to stop there, and just to let you know that it was very interesting and fascinating to watch, right? What was actually showed to us in 2019, and now we're in 2024, right? So, and we almost towards the end of 2024, and I found it fascinating what they talked about on that in that documentary.
What's the name of that video so people can go find it?
Yeah, it's actually full documentary on Amazon Prime, and it's called Data Land. And we may, I put it into our comments after the show, okay? Just to get the key points there. So they were looking at some of the AI decoding through kind of special speech, decoding into speech and images. There will be some extinct languages, sorry, couldn't even pronounce that, and they're going to bring them back. So that was very interesting. But the most interesting part was how long AI is actually there and what it can do. And, how AI reading human feelings. I think that was the most kind of interesting part for me. And that could lead to something that I'm going to talk about right now, which is Project Strawberry. I just come across that this week by searching and say, what is Project Strawberry and why it's so much talk about it, especially in social media? So Project Strawberry is a secret AI initiative by OpenAI. And the goal is to enhance AI's ability to reason and plan, and key steps towards achieving artificial intelligence. But it's artificial general intelligence, which I never knew before. So AI, we all hear about it, but how many of us knew about AGI? So I'd say all the coders and people in tech industry, they probably would know, but I don't know how many people would know what that is. So artificial intelligence versus AGI, what does that mean, right? So that we know about the AI, that it simulates human intelligence, and it's about learning, reasoning, and perception. And it's kind of a narrowing down to what Excel specific tasks. And whereas the weakness, it highlights some AI limitations, right? So compared to human intelligence. But when we go to AGI, what it should be doing, it will be thinking like humans and taking into consideration all the feelings, emotions. And they even talk about the consciousness. So that really caught my eye and say, okay, now we're thinking of consciousness. We all talk about conscious and subconscious and, all the parts that make us do things or hold us back. And now we're talking about AI and AGI. So the features of AI and AGI, the differences, right? There's some limited to specific tasks, but AGI will be actually capable to a wider range of tasks. Intelligence. In AI, it's quite narrow, but in general, human-like, it will be towards AGI. Consciousness. There is no evidence right now, but it definitely a big potential, the way the AGI is developing through this, let's say, Project Strawberry. And then autonomy. Human dependent for now, all AI, we have to train the AI, but AGI is capable of independent thought. So I just got this by research, and I listened to a couple of podcasts myself and got some paperwork and different platforms. I read it. So I would like to hear from our audience. Is this really true? Is this really developing? Has anybody heard about it before? And what do they think about it? And in conclusion, I quickly say that this Project Strawberry kind of represents the existing leap forward in advanced AI. And while the project's detail can remain secret, its potential impact is immense. So it's actually, we need to think about probably ethically and how we can use it ethically and responsibly going forward. And what are we facing as humanity if this is actually true? So over to you, Thomas. That was my discovery this week.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll talk about it. I haven't had such a major discovery, but I'll get down to it in a few moments. But Anna, this red tie and everybody dressed up today is getting some comments. Somebody says, "Oh, actually, it's Sandra Hart." She says, "Hi, gorgeous."
I'll take that one. Thank you very much.
And we've got Sandra again letting us know she's she has a good morning from Canada, the Incredibles, right? Well, we're going to hear from some more people in Canada as well.
That's Sandy Hart. Oh my God, that's cool. Hello, Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy Hart, yeah.
Yeah,
and
think why we all dressed up today. I think it's somehow linked to our VIP guests, but yeah.
She's embracing and learning to love AI, and now the new where is it now? The new here. I'll let you read it for yourself and everybody else. So it's I'm with Alan here to embrace and learn to love AI, and now AGI, right?
Oh,
okay.
Brilliant, Sandy. Thank you very much.
We do have a few other comments here.
I bring her on yet.
We have people on from Sweden here today, right? We have Katrina. We've got Desmond Lowry from Ireland, and he just said he likes the tie. Right? Okay. So we've got Alan Bell who says, "Great to be back here and how to here to learn and love AI." And that's it for now, right? So Okay, so this week with our guest coming on, I want to learn a little bit more about our guest. And I was on an online summit myself, and the chatter afterwards in the green room in the online event, people were talking about AI. While the summit itself was not about AI, people were talking about it. And they were saying, if you're doing a podcast, you don't actually have to do much research. Use the tools of AI to do a profile for you. So I decided I would go and ask ChatGPT to do it. It wasn't able to do it for me. I asked Gemini, it wasn't able to do it. But then I said, please tell me the tools that can do it. And I came across a very, very interesting tool, like many interesting tools, but one I really liked called Crystal AI. Right? Our Crystal Knows, actually, it's what it's called. It is, I have it here, right? It's called the personality data. And it has a plugin that you put in Chrome. It also works with Outlook and a few other places. But it tells you on my email, it comes up and tells me if an email comes. It tells me about their risk tolerance. It tells me everything about their personality based on what it found that they've written about themselves, the tone that they've written it in. And then it also goes a bit further if they open up a Crystal Knows account and do a disc profile on themselves. It then communicates with you on how to and how not to engage with that person. So so when you open up an email, it begins to recognize who this person is and tells you how you should and shouldn't engage with them. It gives you tips on how to write the correct email to make sure that they are resonating with the language that you've used. It is a nice little tool.
And you can directly link that to LinkedIn, isn't it, Thomas?
LinkedIn and your email. And even as you go onto somebody's website, if they have anything written about themselves, it pulls up their profile as well there. So nice tool. I have to say, without doing the disc profile, I did not personally like what it told me about myself. But after doing the disc profile, yeah, it was pretty accurate after that, right? So that is crystalknows.com, right? So, and on to our next segment. And before I introduce our VIP guest, remember that there's plenty of opportunities to engage. Our VIP guest is going to have a lot of valuable information. He's got over 25 years of experience in what he's doing. And he's got an engineering background and leadership. So yes, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. Our guest is Peter Ainley. And if I ever pronounce anything wrong, I'm Irish and I get away with it, right? Okay, so but Peter will introduce correct me if I've got it wrong. He's a founder and CEO of the LOS Global System and creator of the Leadership Optimizing System framework. He is passionate about creating dynamic and healthy organizations, led by true leaders who want to be the hero of their team. As I said, he's got over 25 years in engineering, leadership, and project management. He knows what it takes to take lead an empowerment team, especially through major challenges and chaos. He's passionate about true leadership when it comes to his own experiences, and he sees the negative seeing the negative impact on teams and individuals that poor, ineffective leadership has. He has witnessed over his years how destructive this type of leadership can be in organizations as a whole. And yes, that's Peter. There's one other thing. He disrupts the old way of thinking and doing leadership. And now, please welcome our good friend, Peter. Right.
Hello, Peter.
Hi, well, thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Anna.
Right. Yeah, well, we're looking forward to learning from you today, everything about your system and leadership, and we are here as your scholars.
Yeah. But
Wow.
before we go there, Peter, can I ask you a question as we talk AI and all the tools, and we want our listeners to get some practical tips? Can you share your experience with some AI tools or maybe some digital tools that you use in your business? Any tips?
So, well, there's a number of tools that I use that have AI integrated into it. So
Okay.
I will say that I signed up with ChatGPT on day 3 after they launched. So I was
Okay.
one of the early adopters to it, but I didn't use it for a while. Admittedly, I had my doubts and my skepticism about it,
Okay.
and but I've used it a lot more in recent times to pull data. But you have to still be very careful about what data you do pull and what you accept from it. In terms of other AI tools, I use a tool to assess a communications profile for individuals. So I use that one. Some of the other assessment tools that I use with clients have AI built into it. So anything from saboteurs to motivation to, like I said, the communication, their communication style or communication profile, as I would call it.
Very good.
And I do use automation where I can. I mean, in today's day and age of everything moving fast, 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 and then
Yeah,
faster, we
very
need to
true.
help us streamline operations. So, I've got what I think is a pretty good CRM, all things in, not just CRM tool that I use.
Okay.
Um, but it's interesting. I try to use automation as and where and when. I mean, back in my engineering days, if you could automate it, you automated it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant. Now that's oh my God, I think you're one of those guests that has
Yeah.
so much
Well,
experience.
you're also
Brilliant.
speaking my language. I've been
Yeah.
automating since about 2016, right? Even
I'll
stuff I
throw something
shouldn't
else
automate.
I'll throw
Yeah.
something else out on the AI front. Anna, you're aware of this.
Yeah.
In the middle of developing another AI, and it does delve into the realms of AGI, generative AI, and using some of those aspects. And it is initially related to leadership. I'll leave it there because right now everything else is pretty quiet, but we're in the development phases of that one.
Very good. Speaking of leadership, my first question to you, why is leadership so important today, Peter?
Ooh, how much time do we have?
Well, we'll go
No.
briefly. And by the way,
Well,
if anybody would
let me give you a high level summary. I mean, at
like,
the end of the day, everything runs with people. I mean, yeah, we're trying to bring AI and automation and all of that, but at the end of the day, you need people. You need people who interact with people. You need people who are going to influence the direction that people take, and you need to, at the end of the day, corralling may be the wrong word, but bringing people together for a common purpose, for a common mission, for a common vision
Mhm.
that has been synonymous with the word leadership. And when we don't, the importance behind it is we've got to move people together in a unified direction. And that is what leadership ultimately is about. Doesn't matter if you're in a business, in a nonprofit, in government, dare I say, and that in any activity, the moment you've got two or more people, somebody's got to direct that. Somebody's got to take the initiative and move that group forward. And that's ultimately leadership. So therefore, it is important because it impacts every aspect of life. What's
Absolutely.
really important nowadays, and this is in my opinion, is that how we lead is a critical thing. And how we lead reflects on who we are as a leader first. So I'll use the term inside out leadership, and you and I have spoken about that, is
Yeah.
leading yourself first from the inside out. Why? Because if you don't know who you are and you don't know how to lead yourself first, you cannot lead anybody else better. But you'll only lead others to the degree that you can lead yourself. And
You know,
that's
when
why
you talk
it's so important.
about, Peter, so when you talk about inside out leadership, the first word comes to mind is authenticity. Because a lot of people talk about it, but do people actually understand the meaning of it? So I think
That's
inside out leadership is the key.
that's a good question. Do they really understand what it means to be authentic? I think in today's day and age, there is an artificial authenticity. People are trying so hard to be authentic that they'll end up being completely and utterly inauthentic. Being authentic is understanding who you are and being and showing up as to who you are as a real person, not as somebody you want to be, somebody that you're trying to project yourself to be, but it comes from understanding who you are and a degree of self-awareness that is so that you're so aware of who you are, but how you are impacting those around you.
Yeah. And that leads me to, because I'm so passionate about this topic. And I want to ask you, what made you want to serve leaders and transform leadership globally?
Okay. Well, now we got to go back a few years for that one.
Okay.
I think the biggest trigger for me for that has been when I was in the corporate world and observing in hindsight. I have to add that because in the moment I didn't see it, but when the more and more I reflected back, I could see it, is that often I was made to feel less than. Now there's two sides to that. I can allow I can allow how I choose to feel, yes. But this is where I said a moment ago, leadership is about influence and how do you corral a group of people to go in a common direction. And you can do that in a positive way, or you can do that in a negative way, if we will, in a way that disempowers people, or in a way that empowers people. So I found my experience was it was more my experience under leaders, so within the corporate space, before I hit more the upper echelons, was that I wasn't as empowered, and at times he probably even made fun of. I mean, that's going down to some personal experiences. But I discovered over time when I look back, I said, what was the problem? Why was the struggle there? And then I looked at the people and how they showed up, the leaders that I was serving, working under, how they showed up, and realized, well, I wouldn't want to show up like this. And then I observed other people and said, well, now I know why that person is feeling the way they are, because of the interaction that occurred. And then as I got up into positions of leadership and higher, I became aware of how other people were influenced by how I was being. In other words, how I was leading. Forget the skills of leadership for a moment, but it's how I was being. And that's when I slowly, over time, began to see that there is a huge gap in leadership. Is many people don't know who they are as a leader. Who are they as an individual? Who are they as a leader unto themselves? And how are they being a leader to those around them? And that has a ripple effect. So those are some of the elements.
What you telling Peter about your program or how you come about it, the fact that you've been on both sides of being leader and being led by leaders, that gives a lot of insights, probably very valuable insights that you can gain through the program that you, hopefully you just tell us a little bit more about your LOS Global. But I think it's a big thing if somebody trains you, if somebody gives you advice on something, or mentors you, or coaches you, not necessarily coaching to say you don't have to be subject expert, right? But still you have experiences that could directly impact how quick you can actually make that transformation for people that you're working with. So can you tell us a little bit more about LOS Global, please?
So LOS Global is the company, and the objective of LOS Global is to really provide an awareness to leaders and help leaders more effectively move their people in the direction they want them to go, assuming it's positive. I'll leave it at that. But it is really to help them overcome that, draw people in. When you look at today, the stats that have come out, Gallup put out a stat a couple of months ago, 77% of the workforce is disengaged. So my question is, well, why are they disengaged? Why are people just showing up for work to do the bare minimum so they don't get fired, so they can get a paycheck because they've got to live. So why is that? Why are they not passionate about showing up? Why are they not wanting to be there? And it really comes down to leader, because 70% of people who quit their job and look for another job quit because of a bad boss, not because of a bad job, because of a bad boss. And now you've got a leadership issue. So disengagement is ultimately a leadership issue.
And that impact on overall performance of the company, if we took even a financial side of that before we even go to the human element, how was there a ripple effect of that? What is your experience of what companies that you work with telling you? What are the real statistics, Peter?
Well, surprisingly, those statistics are pretty accurate, I'd say. People don't, in the world today, I mean, and I'll say it was different 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The world today, the younger generation, the Gen Zs, are they have a greater level of self-awareness on the one hand, where they want certain things, which goes into the realm of being a little unrealistic at times, but their awareness is something new for the older or more established leaders to deal with. That's one of the challenges. So when leadership as it is hasn't embraced the human element, so understanding who the leader is themselves and who people are, that dynamic of human dynamic tends to then break down. So that's partly what leads to that disengagement, because the people, the workforce, then don't feel like, well, what am I? Am I just a cog in this wheel, in this machine? You know, what's my value? What's my contribution? I don't feel like I'm worth anything, so I'm going to go somewhere else. So why should I work? I'll get a paycheck. I'll do the bare minimum I need to, so I get the paycheck. Who cares?
It comes down to that very simple question, isn't it, Peter, to start with? Yeah. That leads me to my last question here. So we've gotten very serious, right? I'm going to let Thomas to carry on with the fun part now at the end. So what makes the LOL Global different to other leadership consultants?
What makes it different? I think there's two things. So let me just very quickly touch on the LOS framework. So that's the leadership optimizing system, which is a framework that we use within LOS Global and to help with the development of leaders. But looking at it more is, I've just lost my train of thought here for a moment. The more we can work and bring that into alignment, the more, the better it is. Do you want to go back to your question here for a moment? Because
so I was gonna ask you about what is the difference, right, between LOS Global and the other leadership consultants and coaches. But I think I know what you meant to say there about the inside out leadership, right? And how that brings the other aspect of what this framework is about. So is Peter still there? I think I lost him. No? Oh, you're here. Okay.
Back on there. Okay. So the biggest differentiator is we're focused on people. We're focused on actually helping leaders be who they are and overcome the resistances that they have, and be in a position to be better deal with what's going on in the world. So that's a lot of things. That's a very broad thing. But the fact that we focus on helping them as individuals, not corralling people into, well, you've got to fit into this box, you've got to fit into this mold, because that's what leadership is. No, it's taking people, who they are, the leaders, and helping them to identify who they are as individuals and what their leadership is. Because no two leaders are the same, for one. But when you've got so many leadership development stuff that's out there that's focused on skills and techniques and stuff like that, you're still trying to take those people and put them into this box. They've got to fit this mold. And that's not really, at the end of the day, what leadership is. It's understanding who you are, because leadership is not necessarily just a singular person leading a group of people, right? Because it's other dynamics. Because it's interesting. You can have somebody who's at the lower end of an organization, and I'm using the org chart as an analogy for that one, and that's not diminishing anybody. But you can have somebody who's maybe still young, not necessarily, but They haven't climbed the ladder to the top. There's people there that can be far more effective in their leadership skills than maybe the CEO, right? Just because you're CEO doesn't mean you're a fully competent leader. Sorry, guys, that's the truth. Okay. But it's
for sure.
right.
Yeah.
It's understanding who people are and allowing them to then work within their framework of their strength, who they are, their identity as a leader. Because once you understand your own innate strength, you're going to lead from that position of strength, not from
I like the
of
framework.
position of power.
Yeah, I like the layout and the framework of LOS. But I have another question, right? When you talk about LOS Global, as far as I know, and please tell us a little bit more, you can actually expand beyond that just leadership part.
Absolutely.
When you have a lot of experts in your team, and that's, I wanted to ask you, how when you put that group together, it's amazing how much you can offer through your LOS Global. Can you just name some of the areas that you can cover?
Okay, absolutely. And I'll start with this. When you understand what your strengths are as a leader, you lead from that position. And that's how I've built up LOS Global. So what other areas do we look at? Because it affects everything, is how do you bring your executive team into alignment? How do you get them all onto the same page, marching to the same drumbeat, with the same vision, with the same goals, with the same values, right? To minimize the conflict, because that then has a ripple effect through the organization. What's happening? We've got things to negotiate. We've got deals to negotiate. There might be a merger and acquisition that needs to negotiate, contracts and so on. How do you improve your negotiation skills, right? Somebody who can read other people very quickly and help you with that negotiation. We can do that. We look at brand. We look at operations. Leaders lead the operations of an organization, but is your operations effective? Are the processes there? Are the systems there? How is that working? So let's bring that into the equation, because it impacts leadership and vice versa. We're looking at sales. We're looking at AI. We're looking at the human factor. We're looking at,
it's a quite comprehensive list there.
To provide a service. Yeah. Ultimately, LOS Global is providing solutions to help organizations perform and be better organizations out there.
Yeah, I love that. And I think if anybody's interested, and Thomas, you can pull up, I don't know if it's LinkedIn or people.
No, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in a few minutes, Anna. All right, okay.
And that's it. Now I'm passing over and.
All right. No, I'm actually. That's been very, very interesting. But yeah, we did warn you. We're going to get to know Peter, the human behind LOS, right? I don't know whether this will make any sense, but at random, I don't even know if it will play. No, that won't play, right? Try to see what happens if I press this button here.
No, he's not gonna do that, Peter. Again, oh my God.
Oh, I'm not. I don't even know whether I should have had all this lined up in advance, right? No, hold on. There's an ad playing. I don't want to. That's wrong. Sorry. Hold on. Here we go. Skip that. Try this. Right. Here we go. What does this do? No.
That's not the right one. So that tells us to move to the next segment.
No, I was trying to bring up some Latin music here, right? Because what we learned about Peter is Peter actually loves Latin dancing. Right? Is that correct, Peter?
So tell us appropriately.
I was trying to bring up some Latin music. Yeah. Now we're going to do a bit of dancing for us, but no, right? Okay.
Yes, you would be right.
For that, but it's no dancing. Oh
let him tell us about his life. Like, for what we learned about Peter, a few different things, right? He loves the great outdoors. He's a photographer, loves being out there photographing nature and portrait work as well, right? It's what I found out here is landscape and portrait photography, right? Latin and ballroom dancing, right? And not just loves it. He was doing it at a competitive level, right? And he's a bit sporty in other ways as well, right? He likes to run, right? He has used to run, right? Yeah.
Muscle
And
memory, Peter. That's all the muscle memory.
I don't know how fast this is, but how many people can run? I can't run 100 meters in 11.1 seconds. Who actually goes running 100 meters and times themselves unless they're really competitive?
Wow, that's going back to my high school days when we were doing inter-school competitive athletics and all of that. You know what you do in school.
Yeah.
So that's when I used to run
It's a shame
the
I couldn't
20
come up with any Latin music here and start playing it, right? And we get a little bit of, we might get a lesson or two on it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But I have one other question. Getting more back to a little bit more serious. The target market, who really uses your services? Who I know that you and I again have some similarities in. I was actually looking at an advert you were doing a while ago, and you love all the sky and your clouds. I thought I was looking at my own advert from years ago and an eagle on it. Right, I'm big into birds of prey and anything with wings. And I noticed from when I doing a bit of crawling around the internet, you've the very same images as I did back a number of years ago.
All right.
So yeah, so we have something similar there, right? But what about the target market? Who are the typical people that would use your services?
So typical people would be my conversations work with decision makers. That's who I negotiate with. I have conversations with. Can I help them? Yes. Can I help their organization? Yes. I am at the moment targeting a lot of the aviation, the aerospace industry. And to your reference of the eagle, it's interesting. The eagle can fly effortlessly at high altitude. So a lot of aviation companies seek to fly their organizations effortlessly.
All right,
So
I like
is the
that.
analogy.
That's really
I have
cool.
one other question. I don't know whether it's something you can answer now, but we call ourselves here a practical show. We like to give everybody and your target audience, the people that be interested in what you're doing, if you were to give one practical tip today that they could implement within the next week that would have a serious impact, either starting them on a journey or it would actually just have an immediate impact, what would that be?
Engage your team, so your immediate team, have a conversation with them, one-on-one and get to know them. Get to know them a bit better and
Brilliant.
listen. Listen to what they say. You don't need to answer. Find out about them, not share with them about you. The more you do that with the more people you do that in your organization, the more valued people will feel.
Okay. Listen, Peter, how do people get in touch with you if they want to know more? And I do have your contact details here regarding LinkedIn. Here they go, right? But is there any
Yeah.
other method that you want people? That's fine,
I
is
mean,
it?
that's probably the best. It's universal. Depending on where I am in the world, you can still reach me on that one. So hit me up on LinkedIn, as they say.
Absolutely perfect. Listen, Peter, it's been a pleasure having you on, educating our audience. There's a lot that they can learn from you, and there's a lot more they can learn from you as well. So thank you very much for coming on the show with us. Anna, what have
Thank you
we
very much.
got? Sorry, Peter. Yes, go ahead. Sorry,
I
Peter.
just wanted to say thank you very much for having me. It's been an honor to be here, and yeah, this is great.
All right. Well, look, stay with us for a few moments, right? And as we
We'll
wind
get to
up
that
this.
dancing yet, Peter.
We
Right?
we just might, yeah. Anna, I've got our own song that Anna loves to dance to in a few minutes as well, right? But anyway,
Awesome.
Anna, please tell us what have we lined up for next week? Who's our guest for next week?
So we have now, you have to correct me if I'm pronouncing this name wrong, but it's, is it Owen Oliver?
Correct? Yes, it's Owen
Yeah,
Oliver.
Owen
Yeah, that's
Oliver.
right. Yeah.
And we're going to continue with our trends. And basically, what is our show about? Myself and Thomas wanted to learn and be accountability partners for learning more about AI, different tools. So every week, whatever we've learned ourselves and what we discovered, we'd like to share with our audience and inspire others to learn a little bit more about it, because we know AI is here to stay. So, and there are still a lot of people that are not using it. It's not that it's just not using it, but just even to get more information about it and not to be fearful of using AI, because it's everywhere, as we know right now. So that's why we're going to continue with those trends and news, and we're going to be watching our poll on LinkedIn. And when we get our answers, we're going to make some adjustments.
Yeah, that poll at the moment is interesting. It's not giving us it is giving us results, but not the ones that we thought we'd get. Right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for sure. So,
Yeah.
and before we close, Thomas, I don't know, Peter, if you'd like to add anything, I would like to ask a question to our audience. Please feel free.
Well, to add anything or ask a question, my question, I guess, will be to the people is, if you could make an impact in this world that left this world just that little bit better by just that small amount, what would that be that would leave people feeling valued and empowered? Go out and do it.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
We're going to post it.
There is one other in the comments, Anna, before we wind up. I did mention that tool, crystalknows.com. Now, okay, wherever you are in the world listening, yes, we Irish, we say things slightly different here that people misunderstand. So somebody told me, they put it into the comments, that they were looking for Crystal, NOSE.com, right? So it's actually coming up here, right? What it is Crystal Knows, thanks to Sandy Hart for correcting it, right? So it's Crystal, KNOWS.com, right? And we are not affiliated in any way to any tools we ever mention here, right? These are just our own opinions and what we find to be useful. So,
and by the way, I don't know if anybody wanted to come along. We didn't get that chance, but maybe our text didn't work that much.
Oh no, they're all working. They are working
going
today.
Forward, if anybody would like to join us, we can send you, just text us or leave a comment, and we'll send you a link to join us for our next show. And thank you very much again, guys. And I love this theme of dancing suits and red ties. So we'll continue that theme, I guess. Thank you, Peter, very much. Really appreciate it.
And Peter, we do have a couple of comments. People actually are really loving your presentation there. There's good job, interesting insights, right? Loads of different comments there regarding what you had to say. And we have one here. What's the dress code for next week? So with that, I'm going to, Anna, right, I'm going to embarrass you and get us all dancing again, right, with this play out.
Peter, this is the treat for you.
Nice foxtrot.
We'll guide you to the right. AI tools and strategies, insights from the best.
Oh my God.
VIP guests sharing secrets. Success is our quest. Grow your business, take the lead with AI and wisdom. Plant the seed. Tune in, stay sharp, let